everybody, this is Michelle from Little Mama's House, and today I am going to show you how to make a fall centerpiece. I'm going to quickly show you my materials and then we'll go right into it. So I have a basket that we picked up at Michael's. I have a variety of fall flowers. These actually are left over from another craft project I had done, so I just saved anything I didn't use on a small little pick, and I'm going to use them to make this centerpiece. I have 2 pieces of floral green craft foam. You can use the white as well. I just prefer to use this green one. I have a roll of decorative wired ribbon. I have my trusty floral wire clippers and an extra coil of wire for when I make the bow. So that's all you need to make this easy project. So I'm going to go ahead and refocus the camera on my workstation, and I'll let you know what I'm doing as we go. Alright, so the first step is to go ahead and secure our foam inside of our basket. And you can use any type of basket for this. I prefer to get something specific for the season, but I always keep my eye open because any type of basket, pot, anything really will work for this application. You just have to pick something that's going to match. So our foam is just a little too big. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and slice off the top of the foam, and I'll be right back. Thank you. So now I've gone ahead and chopped down my foam, and as you can see now it fits perfect just inside my little basket. I'm just going to position these in the center here. You can hot glue them down, but I like to be able to change out my floral arrangements from time to time. So I actually prefer not to glue mine in. That way if I want to change out the flowers, I can just lift out the foam piece and everything will come out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start placing some flowers. And I like to always start with whatever is going to be on the tallest part of the arrangement. So usually you make it tall and then the edges. So I'm going to use this branch here that I haven't yet taken off of the leaves to go ahead and clip off just some longer stems, because my other stems that are left over from the project are a little bit shorter. So I want to make sure I get some good long ones here. And I've snipped all of these white flowers off the stem. And now I'm just going to start poking them in to my foam in a random but even pattern. I don't want all the whites on this side and then none on this side. So I'm just going to go through and make sure that they're equally dispersed throughout the wreath. And I like to pull the leaves all the way up so that the leaves are at the top of the flower, and in the end it'll just make that look a little bit more full. So I'm just going around, and there's really no rhyme or reason to it. I'm just making sure that I have a white right now sort of on every corner, and I have 6 whites total, so I'm going to do 3 up the middle and 2 on each side. And that also tends to dictate a lot of where I put things. If I've got, 10 white flowers, I always make sure I do 5 and 5 so that it's equal. And I have 2 of these cattails, so I'm also just going to put these coming out of the top because they're a nice tall accent. So I'm just going to center those. Okay, so I have a couple now of these little hydrangeas. I'm going to go ahead and poke these in next. And I'm just going to, again, work my way around, trying to make sure that I do it as evenly as possible. So where I put one on one side, I'll try to make a corresponding one on the other side. And I'm just going to continue working my way around, filling everything out, making sure that I have everything in there nice and evenly. And once I have all the flowers in, I'll check back in. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I filled out the basket. There's no holes. I've checked to make sure that everything I've put in is even, so it's essentially the same on both sides. So what I'm going to do now is add in these little embellishments that I have and give the wreath just a slight bit more dimension. I'm sorry, the basket a slight bit more dimension. So I'm just going to sort of tear off some of these sticks. Well, you know what, actually on this one, I'd like this to sort of come out the middle. So I'm just going to reach this stick inside as deep as I can. And then once it's in there, I'm going to start pulling the branches away from where it's stuck in so it doesn't just look like a big clump in there. You know, I want them to fan out throughout the arrangement. And you won't really be able to tell that they all came from the same clump once I fan them out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We certainly don't want it to look like we just shoved it in there, even though we did. We don't want it to look like that. So once I have these arranged, next I'm just going to do the same thing with these little gold ones, except on these I'm going to pull them off before I stick it in so that I can put them a little bit lower around the sides. And again, I'm just making sure that they bite into that foam so that they stay put. And then I'm spreading out the arms. So that the crystals are evenly distributed. Okay, and there you have it. I'm now just going to go ahead. You don't need to do this final step. I just like to, because like I say, more is more. I'm going to put it here, and I'd like this to be the front. So I'm actually just going to add a nice bow that's going to go around it. So I'm going to take my ribbon, and I have demonstrated this in a couple of other of my floral videos. It's very easy. And I am just going to go ahead and, using my loop technique, make a nice bow for over here. I'm not going to make it too big. This isn't a huge arrangement. I'm just going to maybe make it about that wide. So this, okay, and this ribbon does not have two good sides to it. It only has one shiny and one ugly back. So again, when you do this type, you want to make sure that you're folding the ribbon every time you come through the loop. Let go. Every time you come through the loop, otherwise you're going to end up with half of the bow having the nice shiny side, and then the other half is going to be like that ugly back. So you certainly don't want that. So make sure that you're twisting every time you come back through your hand. Okay, so I have my stack of loops, and now I'm just going to take this little piece of wire, wrap it really tightly around the center. You want to go as tight as you can with that. The tighter you wrap this, the more you'll be able to fluff the bow. So I usually do 2 crisscrosses. And then I start spinning it. And as I spin it, I spin the bow counterclockwise, and that really, really tightens it down. I don't know if you can see that, and I'll try to zoom in. But as I'm spinning the bow, I'm spinning the wire, and so that's making it into a coil. And for this part, you want to make sure that your wire is a nice thin gauge. You don't want to use a big, fat, thick wire for this because you're never able to twist it tight enough. So you're better off with a really thin gauge of wire or a twist tie. Usually at Christmas time when my son gets all his presents from Santa, I try to save as many of the twist ties as I can get away with because I will use them throughout the year as I do bows. Okay, so the bow is made, nothing can happen to it at this point, it's secure. Then you just want to go in and start opening it and fluffing it out. Almost. And you can spend as much or little time fluffing it as you like. The more time you spend now fluffing and opening the bow and playing with it, adjusting it, the better it's going to look, one, and the less time you'll have to do this a second time once it's attached to the project. So it's really not a rush. I move quickly because I've done this a million times, but if this is like only the first or second time you've made a loop bow, it does take a lot of practice, and so you may have to manipulate your ribbon for quite a while until it gets into that bow shape that you want. Okay, so as you see, I did this one and it's flat. It's not a huge, huge puffy bow like I'd make on a big, big wreath because it's going to attach here. We don't want it to be enormous and taking over the whole piece. So what I'm going to do is take a nice thick pick, it's just to cut something off it, and take this piece of wire and just give it a really, really good tight wrap. Okay, and now that's attached, I am going to stick this down and make sure it bites into the foam really well. Find it. Okay, and now I'm just going to take my bow, and again I'm giving it another fluff now that it's attached, and I can see how it's going to look on the piece. I want to make sure that it's fluffed in all the right places here so that it looks good. One more good push to make sure it's in there. It's always easier for me to arrange this head on, so pardon me for a moment. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to snip off my two tails to be the same length. And you can make your tails as long or as short as you like. For this kind of project, because the packaging isn't so, the bucket isn't so tall, I'm leaving my tail short. And there you have it, a finished fall centerpiece. This will look beautiful on a Thanksgiving table, and it's super easy to do, much cheaper than if you were to go buy all the material, to buy it pre-made in the store. And it will last you for years as long as you store it properly in the winter. Put it in a box, upright. Don't, throw it in the basement upside down or something, then it's gonna just fall apart. And the great thing is, because I did not glue those foam pieces in, if I decide next year I don't like it or I want different types of flowers for my fall centerpiece, I can just lift the whole thing out and put new flowers inside. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial, and I hope you get a chance to make this yourself at home. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.